Hey, welcome back to my sports betting case study where I'm looking at laying all of the Betfair $1.01 prices in play across multiple sports. In this video, I'm going to have a bit of a look at the breakdown as has been requested by quite a few people in the comments. So let's have a quick reminder of the case study rules. I am betting all sports, not racing markets, and I am looking to lay everything at $1.01 in play, except for the handicap and total markets. And I try to get these lays in as early as possible. So here's a breakdown by the sports that I have been laying in, and by far soccer is the most profitable and also the place where most of the bets have actually been placed. Now, this isn't surprising. There's a lot more soccer games on Betfair than other sports, and there's a lot more soccer leagues around the world, with it being the #1 sport globally. So there's always soccer games that can be bet every day, pretty much all day long, and there's a hell of a lot of them on the weekend. So soccer's had 192,000 bets that have been matched, and the profit on that has been $471 before commission. And the number I have in the brackets there is after you have paid 5% commission. So if your commission rate is different, that number is going to be a little bit different, but 5% is the default commission rate. I know in the UK it can be 2%, you can pay 8%, but I've just gone with the default 5% that most of the world pays as their commission rate. So you can see commission does take a fair bit of the profit out in each of the sports, but not enough to take any of them from a winning position to a losing position. It just takes away a bit of that profit and makes the losers a little bit worse. Now, the second most bet sport was tennis with 19,000, almost 20,000 bets. That one's had a slight loss, but if you look at it, it's down $27 on 20,000 bets. That is almost nothing, and a good run can easily turn that back. That's basically break even on 20,000 bets. There's been quite a few bets on esports, and I think esports is probably a growing area that I didn't realize I was going to have so many bets on. It's also an area where the liquidity can be a bit hit and miss, so I might be the only bets in the market at $1.01. And so I'm getting picked off on those games where there's a certain winner. So there's something there that I could have a look at and could easily turn that $24 loss into a profit by trying to only get into games that have higher liquidity. Basketball, there's been about 5,000 bets. Again, it's pushed a small profit. Ice hockey has been fairly good at 1,700 bets with a $9 profit. And you can see as we keep going down, there's baseball, cricket, and darts that have all had over 1,000 bets. So I've had at least that many markets that have had matches on my bets. And again, these markets, it depends on the game and the liquidity, and I might be getting picked off in a few places. But you can see the cricket one is quite interesting with the $54 profit, only off 1,600 bets. That's more than likely T20 situations or test games where it's had a bit of a run by the tail end, and I'm thinking of the first game in the Ashes where the batsman for Australia basically batted out and won the match. Darts, there's a small loss. Golf is an interesting one. I did think that golf wouldn't be one that I was losing on, and it's made $18 profit. I guess there are some selections that come into $1 quite early in the final round, and then someone comes and plays later in the day and tends to win. AFL, again, teams do get out to leads and get run down. There's a small profit there. And then we are kind of starting to get lower on the number of bets that have been matched. So snooker and rugby union are starting to drop off. Now, there are a lot of other sports that are below this. I saw I even had a politics bet in there that was matched. So There's a heap more that go under this that I've only picked the top few here to put in here. But you can see soccer looks like it is the area that's making a lot of profit. The others are a slight profit, slight loss, just depends on what's happening. So this is looking at the different sports. Next, we'll have a bit of a look at the different markets. So here's the different markets. Now, match odds is by far the highest number of selections, and not surprising because a lot of people get into match odds for games. This is where you're just betting for a win or a loss. And we've had 36,000 bets on match odds. Now that's showing a small loss, and that's probably because those markets are a lot more efficient. There's a lot of money in those markets. It's probably mostly soccer in there again, but match odds go across all the different sports. So I'm going to have the things like esports where I'm getting knocked off. So that probably takes that into a slight loss, but minus $31 over 36,000 bets, it's not too bad. Double chance is again very high in the soccer markets. This is where you're betting on home and away or home and draw. So there's multiple ways you can win that. People will take something and there'll be a few goals scored at the end that switches it around. So $145 on that is fairly good. A lot higher than what I thought, and by far my best market. Draw no bets. Now there's 13,000 of those, and obviously if it's a draw, the bet's voided. Again, it's showing a nice little profit there over the 13,000 bets. Then we get a whole bunch of goals markets for soccer. So we have the over under 4.5, over under 3.5, over under 8.5, and over under 7.5 and 6.5. Now I get why the 6.5, 7.5, and 8.5 are there. They generally start at about $1.02, $1.03, sometimes $1.01. So I'm getting matched on those pre-game or very, very early in the game. And as you can see, they tend to be close to what's happening. So I'm up on the 6.5 goals, but I'm down on the 7.5 and 8.5 goals. So I could quickly just eliminate 7.5 and 8.5 goals and get back about $65, $66. Now that's not too bad. It's a quick, nice, easy selection to make and filter that could make this profitable. They don't happen that often, so you're going to be losing a lot of those bets. Now, it's probably worth still waiting out. They're not losing too much. It's not a filter I'd just add yet, but give it another 6 months and I've got another 10,000 bets on each of those. Then I'm going to start to think, if that's gone down over $100, then that is something that we could remove. The other area is first half goals there at 2.5. Again, scoring 3 goals in the first half is kind of unusual in football, and that's basically break even over the 12,000 bets. So again, it's an area where I'm probably getting matched quite early. And we also have the first half goals 1.5 in there. Now that's showing a small loss over 7,000 bets, which isn't too bad. So we just got to get more info on these. I know people think 7,000 bets, 8,000 bets is a lot of bets, but when you're talking minus $11, plus $49, plus 8 cents for the over-under 3.5 goals, we're basically either got a small edge or not. And you need many, many, many selections on these to work it out. You can't work it out on 36,000 bets for match odds. You probably going to need 100,000 bets, and you have to remember different sports run over the year, so different times of the year, which is an analysis I'll have to run in a year or two, are going to perform differently for those different sports. Now the final few that I've got in there is obviously some halftime bets. That has been going quite good with $49 over 7,000 bets, and money line. Now money line is basically the match odds. Moneyline tends to be more in basketball and baseball, and it just uses the US terminology. whereas match odds is more the UK terminology. So money odds could basically be added to the match odds market, and combined we'd be about 42,000 bets and only down about $16. So again, these markets are pretty efficient. So you will win some, you'll lose some. Trying to find the edges in these types of markets is very hard, especially with the $1.01. You're basically looking at teams that are certain to win, and it's only the very unexpected events that we are profiting from. So the black swan events, where a goal scored in the last minute or extra time, or multiple goals are scored. So that's pretty much the breakdown by sport and by market. If you've got some thoughts on it, please let me know in the comments. I'm still going to be collecting this data. Now, if you think about it, I've placed, when we look at the $1.01, about 225, 230,000 bets. That's a lot of money staked that have been matched. Now I've done more than 1.6 million, I think, that I've actually put in the market, but I've only been matched on the 225,000. So that's a lot of money to stake out there that sits in the market for a few hours, given it is over 19 weeks. But it's about collecting the data and seeing what you can do. Now, out of that, I'm really only risking $2,500 because I'm really only risking 1 cent per bet. So yes, I can increase that. These kind of markets don't scale that great. I could probably increase it to $10, $15, but you got to think, for someone to win 1 cent, they've got to basically bet me $1. And so when you start to get to $5 to win, they're basically having to stake $500 to win that $5. Now, there is a lot of money that goes in those markets, but I do see, in what I'm seeing in the results, that I don't even get matched fully on my $1 bets. So scaling this up is going to be difficult, and this is more of a bit of a strategy where I'm just testing out to see what happens. Is there a bit of an edge there? Why are people betting these $1.01? What kind of markets are they losing on? And is there something that I can take from that then I can apply earlier on when the odds are higher, and I can start to find edges in that area? Is there something I can actually put into my models that says, hey, double chances on favorites that are dropping in odds down to $1.01 in play are not worth betting, and you should be looking at laying those. Just something else to add to the models, to provide as a feature in to see if they can use it in any particular way. You can also just use this as a purely filtering type of action. I could just lay double chance, $1.01, and see how it goes. But I'm trying to find something a little bit more elevated than just, hey, put these dumb bets in the market and let people pick them off. And you might have a small edge there with a pure filter, but you need to be able to take these things and apply it at a more holistic level to how you do your betting. So with that, I'm going to leave it. Hopefully I've given you a bit of an insight into how the $1.01 lays are going, what sports, what markets, and also where I'm using this information more than just I'm using this as a pure system that would be bet using a bot. So if you did like this, please comment, please subscribe. Hopefully you find these insightful, and I'll continue to put out videos for you over the coming months. And with that, I'll finish up, and thanks for watching.